Have you wanted to get into 3D printing and it's just overwhelming? Well, the 3D pen is the perfect way to get jump started into 3D printing. Today, we are going to make these cute little 3D pen ornaments here on chip builds. So I bought a 3D pen that came with some of the materials, and what came in my box was the pen itself, 3 different colors of filament, a stick to unjam or clean out the 3D pen, and a little tool to change out the nozzle. Now, I kind of wish it did come with a spare nozzle because that would be helpful for if there was a jam or a clog, but so you'll have to buy those yourself. And then one thing I did get off of Amazon is this little silicone thumb cover. That way I can touch the hot PLA or the hot plastic without burning myself. For me, I don't really need it, but it is helpful if you're doing this for the first time. So what I did over on my live stream the other day is we used a 3D pen to make this little cactus planted pot. I 3D printed the pot on my 3D printer, and then we used a 3D pen to put in this kind of rock texture and flowers. It turned out really good, and that was the first time I used the 3D pen, and so this is going to be the second time that I use the 3D pen. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually decorate some Christmas ornaments. Now this is a Mickey and Minnie gingerbread shape ornament, and we can use the 3D pen to add details and accents. So I did print out a couple so that I can practice before I go on to the real thing. So I think this set costs about $70. I bought this a year ago and just now took it out of its box. It's kind of sitting off in the corner. If I were to do this again, I would buy a different brand because at the time that I ordered this, I didn't realize that the PLA that it needed was 3mm. All the 3D printers that I have use 1.75mm filament, and so I really wish that I had a pen that could use the filament I already own. So if I'm going to keep this pen, I'm going to have to buy these refill packs. So another downside to these 3D pens is definitely made for right-handed people. I'm left-handed, so this is going to be upside down. And we have 2 buttons here, one for a fast flow of filament and one for a slow. So I do have the power cord coming off to the side just to make it a little bit easier. And it has 2 different settings, one for PLA and one for ABS. So I'm just going to plug this in and I'm going to turn it to ABS because that is the white color that I'm going to start with. And then it's a red light right now, and once it turns blue or green, then we'll be good to use it. So I can already tell one thing I'm going to have to design and 3D print is some kind of little stand to put this in when I'm not actually using the 3D pen to write or draw with. Now I am working on top of a safe silicone, so just keep in mind that you potentially are going to have a hot metal end or hot plastic onto whatever surface you're using to 3D draw with. Alright, so our light has turned blue, and so now we can stick the filament into the hole here. And then what I've noticed is you do got to give this a little bit of a push. And so I'm going to hit the slow button so that it could start pushing the filament out. And I do have to say, the pen is a little loud. I'm not pushing too hard, just doing just a little amount. Because it does take a second to heat up into the nozzle and to come out. So as you can see, here comes some of the leftover color that I used earlier today. And then so if you want to stop the flow, you just hit the button again and it will stop it. And what it does is it just retracts the filament a little bit. The fast comes out really fast and I don't like to do it. So I stick with the slow setting. And you can just kind of rest your finger on there, just like if you're holding a pen or a pencil. And so we have our little mini template here, and then we have our Mickey template. And as you can see too, because it's hot, with this one is the filament's just already coming out. So that is something to keep in mind. And so you can, you know, use this little thumb thing to kind of wipe off that excess filament. And I'm gonna hit the slow button, and then we'll kind of just start doodling, see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, I kind of just pushed down with the nozzle. I didn't move it quick enough in the beginning, so it did blotch. One thing you do want to do is when you're coming to the end of your line, you are going to want to hit the stop button a little bit sooner than when you would actually finish. That way it gives the pen some time to retract the filament. So as you can see, it's not the easiest. It is kind of hard to do, and so you just gotta do your best. I do wish this had a little bit more settings so I can control like the speed and even the temperature. This is just, you know, two settings, either a setting for PLA or a setting for ABS/flexible filament. So it's not the best, and it does make things harder, which is why I was just saying too, I would get a different brand, just do a little more research. I'm not saying that this pen is bad, this is just does not have as much control as I personally would like. And so before the filament comes out, I kind of already start the movement of the shape that I want the filament to follow, just so that I know it's gonna go where I want it to be and not be too thick. That one got a little kind of crazy. So then what I'm gonna do for like his little buttons, his little gumdrop buttons, I'm gonna hit the pen and I'm just gonna do a little blob and just kind of let it build up, and then hit that button again. One thing to keep in mind too is these pens do get a little hot as you hold them, but it's nothing unbearable. So we can do the same thing again. And there we have our first little test guy. So the nice thing is too, if you don't like how it looks, you can pretty easily take it off. So it definitely is hard to just kind of press the button naturally. It's not something you typically just want to do, especially when you're used to holding this pose with like a pen or a pencil. And then so we have that little wispy right there, and so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little pair of snips. I'm just going to snip it off. Just like that, and then now you'll never know. So we are going to give this one a little bit of her dress. And then so for the mouth, I'm going to do a hold where we make the little ball, and then I'm going to slide the pen to the other side. Just going to make our ball, then come over here and make another ball. Just like so. He looks a little bit like the Joker, but hey, what can you do? You don't have a super ton of control with these pens. I think the next thing to do for this one is to just add the little red accents. So what we need to do is, because the stick has gone so far down, I can't pull it back out, so I'm gonna have to take the red one and then just push it through. It is kind of a bummer because if you do it this way, you have to either be really careful in your planning or you're just gonna waste a bunch of filament. But the sticks do go quite a long way. Or what you can have is you can have a secondary thing, and then you could just put the excess filament in there. And they like to call this the purge pot. And here comes the red. All right, so now we're good. Let's add some buttons on here. You could use any of the colors. I'm just gonna keep this simple and keep it two-toned. I'm just gonna hold it here so we can make a nice big glob. And let's see if we can do like a little bow. All right, she's got a little bit of a bow, not quite Minnie's bow. All right, not bad. And I think that's gonna do it. This is definitely the perfect craft to do if you have kids. It's a really fun way to kind of get into 3D printing by just jump starting, and they can really do 100 different types of things if they really want to. The possibilities are endless with a 3D pen, and you can get a bunch of different templates or different mats to do all of this, but this is a lot of fun, and this literally takes like 5 minutes to do something like this, so it's a really quick craft as well if you're trying to do any kind of last minute Christmas presents. But honestly, these are super cute, and I cannot wait to put them on the Christmas tree. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. I had a blast learning how to use the 3D pen and making these little ornaments. I cannot wait to do this on a bunch of different other things, and I'm just really excited for all the possibilities that can come from this. These make a really great gift, or even just if something you want to do with your kids or friends or just with a group of people. It's a lot of fun. Let me know down below if you have any questions or comments about this process or 3D printing or the 3D pen in general. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Well guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!